Can you mix your paint in your airbrush? I'm Warwick from Harder & Steenbeck, and here are our need-to-know basics. The answer to this question is absolutely yes, you can. It's a really convenient way of mixing the paint that you're going to use in the airbrush. There's one thing I would say that I'd really like you to stick to absolutely religiously, and that is never, ever put the paint in first. Now, the reason for this is after the bottom of the paint cup, as the paint progresses through to the nozzle at the front of your airbrush where the paint is sprayed from, the passageways get progressively smaller. If the first liquid that you put in there is unthinned paint, then we've got to get that through the nozzle before we get the paint that you're going to thin above that through the airbrush. If you put the thinner in first and then you add the paint, when you mix that up in the cup, the first thing it's going to spray through is going to be thinner. It'll go through no drama whatsoever, and then it'll be followed up by the thin paint that you've created in the cup. There's several ways that you can mix it. There's no problem with using some kind of a stirring implement to stir it in the paint cup of the airbrush, not a problem at all. You can mix it by using what's known as the bubble back technique, where you block the front of the airbrush with your finger or fingers. You gently pull back on the trigger and you force some air to come back up and mix that up. Whether you're mixing the paint by using the bubble back technique or you're doing it by mixing it with some kind of implement, the key thing is always put the thinner in first. The second thing I'd say is if you're using a paintbrush to mix it with, there's no problem with doing that, but just make sure that you're using a paintbrush that isn't going to drop any bristles off inside your airbrush. In other words, use a paintbrush that's of a good quality. You can also use this to kind of hone in on exactly the right hue that you want to have for whatever part of the process that you're doing. So there's no problem with adding a few drops of this and a few drops of that to get exactly the right shade of paint that you want for the work that you're doing. As long as you always make sure that you've got the thinner in before you add the paint. That's really what the key is to make that successful. So yes, you can absolutely do it. Put the thinner in first.